Afro Annie. There we go. Hello, hello, hello. We are going to try this one more time. I don't know what could happen to the microphone, but let me have a thumbs up if that sounds better. Because you know what I think is happening? I think that because there's so many people that are at home um, sitting out the weather, they said up to 90 million people are affected by the weather right now. It's kind of like in those days during the pandemic when there was like nobody on the street and everybody was online and they just kind of overburdened the internet. So I reset the PC and let's hope that this helps. But good, I'm glad everybody can hear me. I see a lot of thumbs up. So we won't go through the hellos again because we had a bunch of those, but you couldn't hear me. But believe me when I say this, I said hello to one and all. So welcome, welcome, welcome worldwide birthday celebration. Haven't seen you for a while. Okay, so with that being said, let's get right into it. So right here, um, you see right here it says Spotify makes changes as Harry and Meghan join calls to address pandemic misinformation. You know, I can't say that C word. Pandemic misinformation, live updates, blah, 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 blah. And then the other article there says Spotify reacts to Harry and Meghan's voices, or is it voice? Kind of cut off on my screen. Concerns over misinformation on the platform. Well, this is because over a period of days, people began to pile up on the Joe Rogan experience. And if you haven't seen Joe Rogan before, you're not in a minority. I haven't watched his show either, although I have heard of it and I have heard of him because of the show. Apparently, he's been in quite a few things. And a few years ago, he decided to start a podcast. And, you know, he doesn't have any like formal media training. However, he seems to have somehow managed to get some 11,000 views. I think, no, I'm sorry, 11 million views per episode on average. Enough that Spotify picked up the contract with him where he would actually give them all of his past, present, and future podcasts. So, how does the Sussexes fit into this? Well, the Sussexes, you know, I always say, let the Sussexes Sussex. The Sussexes actually addressed their concerns to Spotify, to the likes of which Joe Rogan gave some type of, I'm not even going to call it an apology. I'm not sure what it was, but he spoke to the issue, not directly to the Sussexes, not directly to, who is it, Joni Mitchell and the other guy that pulled their content, but he addressed the issues brought up, and I believe there will be a disclaimer added to his podcast. So, that being exactly what it is, people weren't satisfied to just leave it alone, right? The Sussexes said what they had to say. Joe Rogan said what he wanted to say. And then all of a sudden enters okay, it just wouldn't be complete without Lord Nappyhead. Lord Nappyhead had to put his Afro sheen into the issue. And so Lord Nappyhead's paper, not directly him, I'm not going to imply that it was him directly, But his vehicle of despair, the Daily Fail, ran an article today where they spoke about um, something from the past came up and they just couldn't ignore it. No wonder they complain about him. Joe Rogan mimics the Queen, saying, "That little American hussy ruined my prince." In unearth, that is, not it is unworthy too, but unearth podcast, in which he said Meghan would make Prince Harry a Kardashian. Actually, um, all of this was in jest, and this is like your typical type of banter and filler, where if you want to make something interesting, you have to throw in a little Duke and little Duchess of Sussex, and all of a sudden it's that much more clever seeming and somewhat more interesting, possibly. So that's exactly what happened. Um, the other guy that was on the show, I didn't catch his name, but the other guy that was on the show, let's see, it said Rogan was discussing the Duke and Duchess of Sussex decision to leave the British royal family with Mike Barker, Baker, I'm sorry, Mike Baker, a former CIA officer and security expert on the podcast, which first aired in January 2020. So January 2020, everybody was talking about the Sussexes stepping back from royal duty. And so this was a little filler that they had in that podcast. I imagine I didn't see it, but I didn't like the tone of it just the same, because between Rogan and Baker, it was this, the little American hussy, referring, of course, to the Duchess of Sussex. Um, as far as I know, I don't know of any other occasions where Joe Rogan has mentioned the Sussexes, although I could imagine after the Oprah interview, there had to have been something. But whether he said something disparaging about the Sussexes or whatever, I don't know. But between Rogan and this Baker guy, they Rogan was the one who actually mimicked the Queen, but the other guy is the one who implied that somehow Meghan is bringing Harry back to the US to turn him into a Kardashian. Okay, let's unpack a little bit right here. The Sussexes, and this is what they discussed in the podcast. See, everybody wants to talk about the Sussexes, but they don't want to dig deep enough to know what the real story is. It's better to make light of their situation than to ever try to understand the reasons why they left. So, on the surface, you have someone like, say, a Wendy Williams who says, "Get that bag, girl." Yeah, It's something about her. Him, I like. I don't like her. That's so easy to do because it puts the Duchess of Sussex in this misogynistic depiction of ripping the prince and trying to make money off of him, as though she didn't have money when she came into that family, as though she didn't have a life before she met Harry. Obviously, that is not true, but it doesn't suit a narrative where you can try to make the Sussexes the butt of a joke, or to come up with some clever little unintelligent, or absolutely degrading comment about the Duchess of Sussex being some type of gold digger. That frustrates me to no end. And so the term hussy or Kardashian, all of these tropes are meant to disparage the Sussexes. Now, again, from the little clip of it I've seen, I didn't see the whole podcast. I haven't seen the whole podcast. I've only seen a clip of it. I want to believe that this was all in fun, but it's also contributes to a narrative that, for me, as someone who supports the Sussexes, I find it disturbing, especially again when it has to do with a woman of color. Now, of course, the big defense is, well, I didn't know she was a woman of color, or, I didn't know this, I didn't know that, or I wasn't trying to insinuate this or that, but it happened. The tone was pretty bad. So I'm hoping that this is the beginning and the end of this type of language from the Joe Rogan experience in regards to the Sussexes. As far as I know, he doesn't really have much of an opinion about them. I don't know. But if there is something else there, it will come out. I'm not going to go look for it. I don't know to the extent in which Joe Rogan has been critical or supportive to the Sussexes. So I'm just hoping this is the end of it. To be fair to him, he was mimicking the Queen and speaking in jest, but I think it's unfair to the Duchess of Sussex. Please tell me what you think about this. Shock jock, they get paid to say shocking things, and the Sussexes are a favorite cash cow for such people. Very good, Joseph Berno. You're absolutely right. That like I said, it's like cooking gourmet food. You add a couple of tablespoons of Sussex, and all of a sudden, some of the most nonsensical conversation suddenly becomes clever or meaningful. I mean, that happens all the time. So I'm not surprised. Yeah, yeah, married man, that is honest. He was mocking the queen, petty Queen Betty. He was mocking the queen, and so that's why I'm hoping because the thing is we can't stay angry all the time. And yes, everybody is subject to a bit of, humor. As you know, one of my favorites, of course, actually I have two favorites, and that is Willie Leaks and the Doolittle Duchess. We all have people that we, have fun with, and I hope that this was all there was to that conversation. Yeah, Patricia, that is exactly what. I'm sorry, exactly the reason why Spotify lost value of its company for a few days, and also the reason why he was in the hot seat over the weekend. Okay, of course, the very reason why this uproar about teaming up with Cardi B, some rejected, let me see, they always link her name to these dysfunctional families. Lil Rock, yes, yes, and yes. Yes, hello, Roseanne Campbell. Haven't seen you for a minute. Hello, Connie Balmer. Hi, hi, hi. Let's see. The bar is open. Why did I think this was Church Nelly when I saw all of those libations going across the? Anyway, Lucy Wynn. Hello. Does nothing, and the British people are brainwashed. Okay, so Joe Rogan said the Queen does nothing, and the British people are brainwashed. Okay, okay. So again, I don't know much about him. So you know what? Right now, Lucy Wynn, you're educating me because I've never followed his podcast before. Beverly McCaskill, Joe Rogan should just shut up about anything that concerns the Sussexes. None of these people have met her or go out of their way to meet her or them, right? Absolutely. Yeah, it kind of when anybody says something about the Duchess of Sussex, automatically my shoulders kind of go up. I get that fight or flight feeling because, I've of obvious reasons. So when I saw this, I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch the video clip just to see the tone of it. And the tone of it didn't seem directly malicious, but again, the narrative is uncomfortable for us because it's referring to the Duchess of Sussex, even though it's in the Queen's voice. Oh, the little American, it's just like, okay, let's not do this, okay? The rags don't have time to fact check. They just invent lies. Absolutely, Joan Garcia. Absolutely. So yeah, from the headline, it seems as though the Sussexes were like, "Oh, okay, this is our chance. We can take them down." Blah blah blah. I don't think Harry and Meghan would care about the comments that he made. As a matter of fact, they might find it humorous. I mean, it wasn't so awful. But okay, so the Baker guy is the one who mentioned that the Sussexes, he said the Sussexes were stepping back to be financially independent. So, if I'm correct, Mike Baker, who was on this podcast with Joe Rogan, then went on to say, and I'm not quoting this directly, but from my recollection, he went on to say that yes, they got what do you call it, the copyright or not copyright, but they oh gosh, what do you call it? Anyway, they yeah, I guess it's a copyright or registered, whatever, the name Duke and Duchess of Sussex and so on for T-shirts, for coffee mugs, for whatever. They decided that they would license, or not license, but to prevent people from using their name. They decided that they would go ahead and put a copyright on all of their intellectual properties as much as possible, which is the responsible thing to do. That's the responsible thing to do. They have to set up the LLC or the whatever. They have to set these things up in order to make money without conflict and without people trying to steal their images or such any more than they already have. If the Sussexes want to prevent someone from producing a Duke and Duchess of Sussex sweatshirt, then obviously to prevent a T-shirt, a trademark. Thank you, Mary G. I just that skipped my mind for some reason. Yeah, so they trademarked a lot of things, which is business wise a very responsible thing to do. And so when it is repeated, not just on Joe Rogan, but on any podcast, on any medium where it is repeated, it makes it sound as though the Sussexes are trying to go out and sell a brand of clothing. That's not what they're doing. They're trying to prevent someone else from doing that. That's it. That's it. There's nothing nefarious there. So again, in this jovial conversation that they were having, pretty much discussing what everybody in America was talking about at the time. The Sussex is stepping back. So let's do this. This is just okay. I'm going to do this for now. I'm going to give it a free pass. You were making conversation. You were making light of the situation. This was 2 years ago. Hopefully now this Mike Baker person knows better. You know, he's from an intelligence agency. Let's hope he has some intelligence. Let's hope he knows better. Let's hope they both know better. Um, I hate to see us react to everything as though we have to, try to fight somebody's corner. We should never be more angry about this situation than the principles that are involved. So, that being said, um, it caught my eye, and at first I was just like, "Oh my god, here we go." After, rehashing it a bit, I don't feel as though it's as I don't feel as though there was a malicious intent. As you know, I enjoy the occasional mimicking someone. I mean, every now and again I may, throw in a little something just for fun. So I understand how that could happen, you know, but only if Harry will allow it. Sometimes Harry may want to do something, but he will be unable to do it unless Meghan says it's allowed. So it's only if Harry will allow it, or Meghan may allow him, then it's allowed. I mean that happens. Okay, that happens. So that's what I'm saying. Let's just let it be. Let's wait and see in the next few days if they try to drag out something else, because I told you guys the other day, did I not tell you that the tabloids are going to have a feeding frenzy on the fact that the Sussexes spoke out about the Spotify, and I don't think at any time they mentioned Joe Rogan's name. They just, spoke out. I don't believe they mentioned his name. So I knew that at some point there would be the likelihood that the tabloids doing what they do would try to make something out of it. Uh-huh. Yes, Rochelle Bardreau. I mean Baudreau. Let me see now that he is writing articles for the oh, is he? He's doing articles for the New York Post? He did his first hit piece just a couple of days ago. Oh, okay. Well, obviously it didn't make it didn't make much of an impact. uh okay, let's see. Oh, really? Yeah, what if I got stuck and I couldn't and I just what if I got stuck and I couldn't stop doing it? Oh, yeah. Let me see. Okay, Little Rock, but from here on out, I tell you what, I'm going to keep an eye. I'm going to keep an eye out. I'm what I'm considering is just the fact that it was January 2020, and of course, I didn't see the entire podcast, so there may have been more, and maybe the tabloid, the fail is doing a slow release. Maybe they plan to blanket the airways in the future with more quotes from the Joe Rogan show. So right now, he's mimicking the Queen. Okay, fine. He's talking about the Duchess of Sussex. Not so fine. But okay, it is what it is. So Harry, I'm sure Harry, well, you know what? I'm not gonna just say it was Harry. I'm sure that both Harry and the Duchess of Sussex, they decided that okay, this whole misinformation campaign, as it has been called, or whatever you want to call it, the contradiction of medical science from one doctor to another, all of these things were alarming. So the Sussexes spoke out. But check out these people right here. You see that? There's all these people that are living off of the public dole that have no opinion about anything unless actually they just don't talk out much about anything that isn't safe, right? So the Sussexes left Narnia. They went to the United States to maintain financial independence. And yes, they obviously have a bit of an activist side to them. So instead of the public paying, what is it, 85, 89 million pounds a year for someone to do little or nothing, or for the Sussexes to finance their own lives so that they can speak their truth without any worry that it's going to be any repercussions from the firm, that's a good reason to leave. And I should think that whomever it is speaking out in the future about the Sussexes will bear in mind that they are not a burden to the taxpayers. They're self sufficient. And yes, like anybody else, they have an opinion. Of course, they like to use that, the royals are not supposed to be political. Well, they're not within the political family or non political family anymore. They're on their own. I don't even know half of the people that's on the screen right now. I think I could, well, maybe I could name a little over half. Let me see. Ford Fiesta, um, Betty, um, the U-boat captain, which was Princess Diana's name for Princess Michael of Kent, and of course, Prince Michael of Kent, Beatrice or Eugenie. I can't tell them apart. Uncle Pennywise. We're going from left to right. Uncle Pennywise. And then, of course, that's the Duke of Kent, right? That's yeah, that's the older brother from Prince Michael of Kent. That's the Duke of Kent, I think. And then that guy next to him, I have no idea who that is. And then the lady with the pink hat with the ostrich feathers or whatever plumage is coming out of it. I Isn't that the woman that plays the queen in The Crown this next season? Isn't that the actress that's playing the queen? What is her name? That's who she looks like. And then the one with the red coat and glasses on, isn't that Miss Jane Hathaway from the Beverly Hillbillies? Is she really related to them? I don't know who that is. Okay. And then and then there's Prince Charles, who just leans and mumbles everything he says and talks out the side of his mouth. And there's his emotional support, Camilla. And there's Beatrice or Eugenie. And there's Afro Annie trying to keep that tiara down on that afro. Randy Andy. And then there's another woman I don't recognize that looks like Kay Bailey Hutchison. Wasn't she a senator? And then there's Baltimore and the Doolittle Duchess. I don't even know who all these people are, but all these people are living off the sovereign grant. And if they are paying rent, they're paying little or absolutely nothing. And all of them maintained a much nicer household. Do you hear me? A better household. All of them lived in larger places for little or nothing than where the Sussexes were living when they were in Narnia. First, it was Nottingham Cottage, and then from there, they were banished to the servant quarters. What is it, Frogmore House? Frogmore Cottage? Frogmore Cottage, right? They were banished to Frogmore Cottage. I mean, this um, mishmash of pieced together property. It looks like the house started at the far end, and then over time they added another piece, and another piece, and another piece, and another piece until you've had like this 5 sections of what has become some type of home. This is where they sent Harry to live. Harry has always had the smallest and most nonsensical properties to live in as long as he's been in that family. That's what they thought of him. So thank goodness he did leave and that he's living his best life in California. So anyway, your comments, please. Your comments. They are forced to ask the men in gray suits to approve anything you could say publicly and for permission to blow your nose. Uh, I saw with my own eyes and reported it. Oh, really? What did I miss? What did I miss? On a platform where you just leave a comment that Barron posted. Huh. Well, that sounds juicy. I'm sorry I missed whatever that is. Frogmore got a complete facelift, and the Chambridges were jealous of how well they were living. Yeah, except for one thing, the Chambridges had the Amber Hall and the largest apartment at the Kensington Palace. And I'm pretty sure if they wanted something else, that Her Majesty the Queen would have made. I mean, she gave him a helicopter, didn't she? Who just gives somebody a helicopter? That still blows my mind. I am with you. Everything you say tonight, I agree with you. Joe Rogan is not such a bad person. He gave his answer, and that's all there is to it. He's not going to trash Harry or Meghan. I hope not. You know, I really, I'm very neutral about him because I don't want to join a bandwagon to tear somebody down because it's so much of that going around. So I'm very neutral about him. As far as immense information coming from his podcast. Um, you know, there's a lot of people who contradict the medical science that I'm inclined to believe. As I said, and I've been very clear about this, I've had all 3 of my shots, and if there's another one available, I'll take it. I trust the science, and if other people don't trust the science, they'll have to deal with that on their terms because, especially when we're here supporting the Sussexes and they haven't gone on a campaign to insist everybody do the exact same thing. Their voices were concerned over misinformation, and also before that over the disparity in the distribution of, you know, for the poor nations or developing nations, or nations that plain didn't have enough clout to secure what they needed for their people. So that's the stance that they have, and I'm in alignment with the Sussexes. Has taken over. Betty, you just want me to get messy, don't you? You want me to get messy. I know what you want. And we'll see how it goes. Harry and Meghan stepped back from the royal family. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex say they intend to work to become financially independent. Check. They have done that. Check. Meghan came to Britain. Now, this is Richard Eden. You know, Richard Eden, the one who got Prince William embarrassed at the end of the year. Richard Eden opened up his mouth. Queen Richard Eden, Queen of the Thames, opened up his mouth saying that Britain's thinking that, I mean, came to Britain thinking she would be a star, but we already have one. She's called the Queen, says a woman of substance writer in the royal slapdown to the Duchess. So this is the kind of stuff that was happening over a period of time, the past 2 years, where you have people taking these little snips at the Sussexes because they're winning. They're doing that because they're winning. If it wasn't for the fact that the Sussexes are winning, would they even bother? I think not. I think not. So I don't want to be overreactive about anything and everything. People are going to speak in jest. People are going to say some pretty clumsy things over the conversation of the day, like, say, at one point, the Oprah interview. And you realize just how little people know about the Duchess of Sussex every time somebody opens up their mouth and tries to articulate this message that she's some type of gold digger or that she was full of herself, when everybody knows she functions perfectly well behind the scenes supporting other people, like with the Vogue magazine. She literally uplifted and supported other women, mostly women of color. And of course, all they could say, well, this one particular reporter was, well, how come she didn't feature the Queen? Okay, feature someone who's been given an entire nation, or feature someone who worked hard from the ground up to make life better for other people. I mean, I would think that if you gave me men in gray suits and all that, those trappings, I could do some good things too in the eyes of some people. And in the eyes of other people, it has seemed like, oh, well, how could you not have done something? I mean, you have all the support in the world. So those are the two opposing views of it. You know which side I'm on. So the Sussexes are winning, and it bothers them. And so they'll keep coming after them in every way they can, big and small. Okay, so next. How Meghan and Harry could soon be worth billions. This also was a talking point back in early 2020. Actually, it would be pretty easy for Meghan Markle and Prince Harry to build a $1 billion brand. Uh-huh. They're definitely on track to doing that. With or without Spotify, with or without Netflix, they're going to be okay. I'm not worried about it. Superstar Kate Middleton, more than twice as popular as Meghan Markle in the United States. So this is something that came out today, right? This is something that we're going to keep seeing until Tweedledee and Tweedledum arrive to the United States to do their tour. They're preparing us. Rather than come to the United States first, they are going to go to the Caribbean, someplace where they assume they will be better received, just in case, just to bolster their images internationally, someplace where they're hoping that any rules about gatherings, public gatherings, mask, pandemic related stuff, they're probably hoping to have an easier ride in the Caribbean. Then they'll show up in the United States, okay? They'll show up here and hope that everything goes smoothly, which is why I have a cardboard sign ready to take out whenever they get here. So, so there you have it. Planning to visit the Caribbean for the Commonwealth Nations this year. Let me see. Don't fall for their. Yeah, well, you see what she wrote there, and then the other one here. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge are reportedly set for a tour of the Caribbean. So they're prepping us. They're going to get to the United States via the Caribbean. How much time in between both? I have no idea, but they're preparing us for their visit. They're trying to bolster their images globally so that uh, they're trying to big them up. They're trying to make the Sussexes seem rather small, and that these are the true royals, and there is no court rivalry and such. Good luck. And then, of course, last week, Dickie Arbiter put in his 2 cents, right? So this is like, I guess, a segue to the rugby. So, as you know, Cosplay Kate is good at cosplaying so many different things on any given day. She's the queen of cosplay. You have to give it to her. I give credit where credit is due. When it comes to cosplay, she's good. Like, for instance, what about that time when she wanted to convince everybody that she was a concert pianist, right? She's a concert pianist. Somebody yelled, is there a piano player in the house? And William looked at her and said, Oi, you're on. You're on, mate. And so she got up, and now you have to imagine that she went directly to the piano. As we know, it took quite a bit of time until she rehearsed. They got the proper lighting and everything. They lit candles. They found some hobo to for her to accompany whoever that guy was. Looked like they found a street performer. But anyway, they found some sentimental song, and they made sure she wore the same outfit, lest we should assume that this was recorded on a different day, even though, guess what? It was recorded on another day. Actually, I think it was another 2 days of somebody yelling, Cut! Do we have it? Nope. Cut! Was that it? Nope. Cut! So, after several days of manipulating her you know, hair and clothing and all that kind of stuff, they finally set her down at a piano where she decided to cosplay the Phantom of Westminster Abbey. Oh, she was in rare form that night. I mean, she had the big grin. She looked competent. She only played 3 notes over and over again, but she had the big grin. She looked competent. So, cosplay Kate is very good at appearing to be something that she's probably not. So, if you remember, recently she played tennis with whatever tennis star that was. Um, and she smiled and she whacked the ball and she smiled and she smiled some more. She did all kind of stuff to convince us that not only can she play the piano, that she can play tennis, and that she, what else? She went bike riding, she did a little hiking and mountain climbing. I mean, she's a woman of all seasons. So the idea that she would cosplay Mary Poppins, that she would channel Mary Poppins, is just a spoonful of sugar. None of this should come as a surprise to anybody. That's cosplay Kate. Cosplay Kate is gonna cosplay. So fast forward, if you will, till today's news, and there she is. Oh, cosplay Kate can play rugby and grin and grin and grin and grin and grin and grin and play rugby. That's what she's doing. Now, of course, a lot of standing, a lot of posing. She's good at that. A little jazz hand, a little pose, just to make sure everybody sees that she is just like anybody else. Thank you for that, Sheila Hilton. Thank you so much. Yeah. She's the new patron. They even had a side-by-side photo of Harry and Duchess Doolittle. But I have to tell you something, guys. When I saw they had actually picked her up, you know what impressed me? I'm just glad it wasn't black people doing it this time because she loves for black people to pick her up, and then she can grin and clap her hands and do a little jazz hand and grin. So I'm just glad that it wasn't black people picking her up. I said, okay, they picked her up off the floor or whatever. Cool. Long as it's not black people, especially during the Black History Month. So um, I guess she deserves a couple of points for that, that she don't have a bunch of black women lifting her up, because usually you have like a whole team of you have a whole team of native women carrying her about. But this time, they had some, I guess, proper Brits doing it. So that's all I have to say about it. I'm just glad it wasn't none of us having to lift her up while she grin and smile and cosplay. So too much. uh, uh, well, that's cosplay Kate. That's cosplay Kate. And cosplay is gonna cosplay. So, like I say, that was a perfect segue because I was planning to talk about that anyway. Um, so let me get this straight. She's a grenadier guard because they're keen to have her. And then she's also a rugby player, and she could wear culottes all in the same day, probably. I mean, we that's Catherine the Great. She can command officers at the Grenadier Guard. She's a colonel or whatever. And then she also can play rugby, although I'm not sure which way she's running or whatever. And then she could wear culottes. Again, I'm not sure which way she's walking. Is she coming or going? I don't know. But yeah, at 40 years old, she's never been more athletic in her life. So there you have it, folks. Cosplay Kate is a grenadier guard, and she's also a rugby player, all in the same breath. Hmm. And of course, I don't know, Zenobia. I have no idea. I tell you, I don't know if she's coming or going, but she's keening to do something. She's keening. Keening Kate is always keening to do something. So she's keen to cosplay. So yeah, I'm not sure what to make of it either. I'm just a messenger. Really? Really? Pretending to be Church Nelly? Ah, wow. Thank you for that. Didn't know that. Well, I mean, they're supposed to be lifting the morale of the British people, Church Nelly. That's what they're doing. They're supposed to be lifting and elevating their spirits, even though we are still hopefully at the tail end of a global pandemic, even though energy crisis in the United Kingdom, I don't know if they've ever been this high before, but she's keen to help. She's keen to help. And by being a commander of the Grenadier Guards as well as a rugby player, yeah, she's keen. So Keen and Kate strikes again. She's keen, keen, keen. Look at that grin. Now, let me stop before I say what I was thinking. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Keen and Kate. She's keen. Okay, let me see here. Yes, that's what I heard. They no longer want any of that um, colonial stuff or Commonwealth colonial. They don't want that stuff anymore. So they're keen to get rid of them, but it's just difficult. Okay. Let me see. The Cambridges and the Royal Rodents are running their selves crazy while Harry and Meghan are only living their best life. From their spitefulness, Harry knows he made the right choice. Absolutely. Absolutely. Leaving Narnia gave him room to grow. If Harry would have never left Narnia, he could not grow as a person. So as much as people were nervous, and I wasn't so nervous for the Sussexes. What I was feeling was a bit let down because the Sussexes, I considered them my safe space at a time when we had the Orange Menace as president of the United States. I needed the 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 Sussexes to just do what they were doing. I would turn on the television, I would see the photos. The Duchess of Sussex usually had something incredible on. She was meeting people, demonstrating that you don't have to be, this or that to do the job. I mean, she demonstrated that, yeah, just about anybody can come in there and do that job. But what she also demonstrated was the fact that she could do the job very, very well. So that was my safe space, was the Sussexes, and I feel like that's been taken away from me, and I was very sad about that because I just wanted to see the Duchess of Sussex there as a point of um representation for a lot of people, which she represented a lot of people, and without that representation, it has a way of suppressing the success of people, especially people of color, of women who have been wronged by certain elements of society, where because they were this or that, they were given the message that it doesn't matter, if somebody has branded you that little American hussy, if somebody has branded you something like that, don't ever try to do anything. Of course, the Duchess of Sussex, she has a lot of confidence, so she would never let something like that deter her. But I just don't like the message that some of those little quips like that delivers to any woman, and in particular a woman of color in this world. Is that keen many talents, forcefulness, why promote such fakeness? Even her birthday article by Tom Bauer, yeah, that guy, usually embiggening her, while 25 mentions of Meghan and dragging her through the mud. Yeah, that the Tom Bauer article, it was like, now take this, Meghan. Now watch this, Meghan. That's how it works, Meghan. You should never, Meghan. Ugh. And look at how they did Obama. Everything that was done to Obama was to remind anybody from the mixed race background that Obama comes from, you are still XYZ, and we will never respect you. Now, of course, the majority of society didn't feel that way, but unfortunately, the sting that was left over from those comments, I think that is really designed to suppress, to be more excellent than a white woman, even though they are quite aware that she is mediocre at best. Mediocre Middleton. Mediocre Middleton. Yep. Mediocre Middleton. I mean, there's so many women in that country, so many women who would have excelled in that position, but they didn't want that. They didn't want any British woman to excel in the position that was thrown into her lap thanks to, yeah. They don't want anybody to excel. They didn't want Princess Diana. They didn't want Princess Diana. Princess Diana was too good for them. Princess Diana came in there and showed them this is what this can be. They don't want to change. They don't want to change. They want to stick to the mediocre. That's what they want. Plain and simple. Anything that looks like an improvement, that looks like progress, no, we won't have any of that. Yeah, I'm just glad that the Duchess of Sussex is out of that. I'm so glad. Let me see. No, I don't, Melita. I have no information about that right now. But if you have something you want to share, please do. Okay. Okay. Oh, let me scroll. I think I haven't moved the. Okay. Well, thank you so much for that. You have to go to sleep pretty soon. I will listen and watch in the day after tomorrow because tomorrow I follow Better Up. Yeah, tomorrow's the 3rd. If you haven't registered for Better Up, I put the link on the community tab. You may have to scroll a bit to find it, but it's not too late. There's 596 people in the live chat. How many people have actually hit that thumbs up? How many people are subscribers? How many people have wanted a membership and just haven't done it yet? They're still available. Let me see. Calling. Haven't been named yet. Mostly me counting in the hundreds. Oh, okay. Hello, Mary Hiker. Okay. Let me see. The people of color are are here to stay. The ones. Okay. 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 All right. So let me take this off of here. As per usual, again, thank you, Princess Diana, for changing the face of the royal family. If not for Princess Diana, I wouldn't know who any of those people were, especially the ones that don't actually do any work. I would have no clue who any of those people were if it was not for Princess Diana. And then, of course, for Doria, the queen of everything, thank you for your service for the family. I mean, without to me, she's like the fifth Beatle, right? I mean, you have the Beatles, and then you find out there's a fifth Beatle. And I want to think that thanks to Grandma Doria, that's what keeps everything running so smoothly. I mean, how important is it to know that you have a praying grandmother? I sound like Helen Baylor, don't I? What does it mean to have a praying grandmother? I would say it means everything. So thank you, Doria. Okay. Late night comedians are going to have a field day making fun of the racehorse unroyal family if the Baldilocks and kangaroo come, especially since alleged that person Andrew trial is happening this year. Did we have to wait until like October for that? I think it's like in the far flung future, but that's okay. I hope it overshadows the what do you call it? The Jubilee. I hope that overshadows the Jubilee because if they have that to talk about, hopefully, just hopefully, they'll just leave the Sussexes alone. Because otherwise, it's going to be all Sussex all the time, and we really don't need that for them. 600 people in the live chat. Welcome if you just joined us. Harry and Meghan are living their best life in California. Of course, anything that is stated that is different from that is just a big old fat lie. They're living their best life. And of course, they are continuing to win. So, how is everybody getting along with this weather? How is everybody getting along with the weather? Let me see. William had broken up with Kate and tried dating other ladies, it is alleged. But it seems as though none of the aristocrats wanted their daughters mixed up with that family. So he ran back to cosplay Kate. Okay. I believe that. Yeah, well, Prince Charles, they said that Prince Charles allegedly said, it was reported that Prince Charles said, "Do you expect me to be the first Prince of Wales that does not have a mistress?" Remember that? Yeah, so that was something that was said or alleged or whatever. They had to choose Katie because if they chose Willie Boy, there would be another side by side of him walking a plank that's 2 feet higher. Right? I remember that. While those people were trying to support Willie Leak so he wouldn't fall, he had on the big aviator helmet and all that kind of stuff. And of course, Harry being his naturally athletic self. I remember that. Okay. Okay, you guys. I think I'm just about done. Thanks, Baron and Squatties. Be safe. Oh, well, thank you, MBRIG20. Thank you so much. Okay. Any last comments, anybody? Any last comments? Any pearls of wisdom that you'd like to share with us? Archwell, Greek word meaning source of action. Okay. Anybody? Have a great evening, all. Church Nelly, I think that's it. Let me see. Yes, thank you so much for that, Mary Hiker. A lot of those have been put off because of the pandemic. And for those of you who have missed your screening because they weren't doing those at the hospital, now that things are starting to settle down, do go. Do go. Yes, drink that jug of concoction, whatever it is. Thank you so much for that, Mary. Yeah, drink that jug of whatever that stuff is. We've all had to do it. And then they're going to fill that cavity with a lot of air. We've all had to do it. So yeah, do it. I've done it. And you know, I mean, I looked at the screen. To me, it just looked like a bowl of chitlins. So oh boy, I'm such a mess. Okay. What? It looked like a bowl of chitlins. Um, okay, yeah, the better up. Okay, bye y'all. Okay. True Camilla, great grandmother. Yes, Edith Kettle, whatever her name is, my kettle. Yes, she was you know what too. uh okay, let me see here. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, you know what? I forgot. I forgot to talk about this. Okay. So, y'all don't be mad at me. I know some people left already. So, Tamron Hall walks away from the Today Show. Tamron Hall, she walked away from the Today Show because they decided that they would not give her an appropriate promotion or elevation of her position, right? So let me tell you something. Anytime that you walk away from slash get fired or demoted or something like that and you call it quits, you should always look this good. This is how you strut out of the workplace, okay? This is how you strut out of the workplace. Does she look like a scoop of pralines and cream or what? This is how you strut. This is how you strut out of the workplace. When I saw that photo, I was like, walk, walk. That's how you quit. That's how you say, take this job and shove it. That's how you do it. Tamron Hall style. So there you go. Almost forgot to mention that, but was there anything else? Oh yeah, one last thing. It's Hump Day, everybody. Happy Hump Day. Happy African American History Month and happy Hump Day. Really? I didn't know that. As in Prince Purple Rain Prince, right? I had no clue. Let me see. Let me see. Shut it down. Shut it down. Okay, and with that, I am finished for real this time. But yeah, next time you decide to tell somebody to take this job and shove it, make sure you're wearing the proper footwear. Okay? Make sure you're wearing the proper footwear when you say take this job and shove it. Tamron gave me my life with this one. Okay, for real, I'm gonna go this time. Good night, Mary Hiker. Thank you so much for your comments. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. Beverly McCaskill, always a pleasure. Oh yeah, thank you. I didn't realize that. Yeah, yeah. There you go. Okay. All right. So, I forgot who had the last word. Who had the last word? Anyway, okay. So this is a sloppy ending to an otherwise okay podcast. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Love you all, and I'm